White Men Can't Jump just hit Hulu, so we're lacing up our sneakers.
And we're going to hit the court and let you know what we thought, so stick around.
So White Men Can't Jump just came out. It's a remake from the 1992 movie starring Wesley Snipes and Woody Harrelson. And this one's starring Jack Harlow and Sinqua Walls. It's a cool little modernized remake.
Yeah, they've definitely got some differences. You know, the first one was kind of, hustling, making money, trying to boom, boom, boom. This one has a little bit different of an angle. So, we'll kind of get into the differences and the similarities. But
so we'll talk about this one specifically. You have Kamal, who is played by Sinqua, and then you have Jeremy, who's played by Jack.
Yep, not Harry Styles like we thought.
No. So Kamal's like a sports prodigy that everybody's watching in high school, but then he runs into some legal trouble. He gets into a fight, and it kind of screws up his career.
A kerfuffle.
His dad is like this well-known basketball player, and so he's trying to like live up to that expectation of it, but it gets ruined. So
10 years later, just out on the courts.
Yeah, still playing basketball, still loves it, but he's also really depressed about it. But he's like living in that moment of like, oh, this is what I could have been, but he's not.
He's basically Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite.
Kinda. Yeah, well, he was
the basketball version of Uncle Rico.
Well, he's playing at the high school that was supposed to be a star at. Like, he still has his little record thing on the wall. But then you got Jeremy who comes in, and he's supposed to be the Woody Harrelson character. He's like this hippie guy trying to like sell detox drinks and stuff to sports people. He trains people in basketball, but he also had double knee surgery. He wants to be a professional basketball player, but his double knee surgery basically screwed that up. So now he's just going around to these courts, doing his training, but he's also hustling people, pretending like he's not as good as he is.
Yeah, and that's kind of what one of the first differences I noticed was the first movie was really all about kind of the hustle. It was more of the gritty, trash talking street game. This one it's still kind of, the street courts and all that, but it was not so much about the hustle.
Yeah, the first one was pretty much all hustle. Like, we're going to go tell these other players, hey, I'm going to bet you this much money. You can pick anybody you want to be on my team on a 2-on-2. And then they would always pick the white guy because they just think he's not going to be as good. So that was the hustle, and then they'd win a bunch of money. This one is really focused in on their financial struggles, I think, a lot. And there's this tournament that's a 2-on-2 tournament that starts off the first one, you get $25,000, but then the end game is $500,000. So
yeah, another big difference. It went from $5,000 to $500.
Right?
Big jump.
Yeah, so that's the whole story. Is you're following these two hustlers who are really good at basketball, but now they're getting thrown into the real world of this tournament where there's actually good players.
I'll tell you what, for $500,000, this white man is going to learn how to jump. That was just a little thing I noticed with this movie. I don't go watch a lot of sports, but for a $500,000 prize, I'm in that crowd. Like, the crowd was so dismal. There was like 100 people there watching this $500,000 basketball game. Like, I'd be there. Yeah.
The one thing I did like about this one, though, is it did give you a little bit more backstory than the original one. The original one, like we were talking about, just two guys who need money. They're both kind of broke, trying to get into better situations, but they're just hustling the whole time. This one really dove into like their backstories a little bit more, gave them a little bit more character. They also made the women in their lives a lot more independent and hardworking, whereas in the other one, they were just kind of not actually career driven. But it was just interesting to see how they modernized a lot of it, even with the characters. They still had a lot of the racial jokes back and forth in this new one, which I was actually really surprised that they had as many like racial jokes between the two of them.
They're from the streets. They don't got PC there. There's no PC police.
Like, one of the funny parts was Jeremy going to the party, and he brings a bottle of Hennessy.
Yeah.
And the dad's like, "You're pretty bold for bringing a bottle of Henny to
Yeah, and then he like
party."
spit out this whole like spiel about how that's all he drinks and
So
the history of it and all this stuff. Like he'd been studying up.
I honestly kind of believe that he's just like, no, this is just me. I'm not trying to be anything different. I don't know. That's the vibe I got out of his character, at least. Between the two, which one did you like the most?
I'm going to say this one was a little bit funnier. Obviously, it's a little bit more modern, so it just feels newer and all that.
Yeah.
But the old one, I felt storyline, it was a little bit more layered. I think even though they went into the backstory a little bit, I feel like it was a little bit more developed. I think storyline wise. I mean, I'm going to go with the original, liking the original a little bit more.
Yeah, I think I like the original a bit more. It's just more aggressive. It's more raw. It's funny, but it's not as, it doesn't have as many happy moments as the new one does.
Yeah, the old one doesn't end with a happy ending.
No, not at all.
No. Yeah.
Yeah, but then also you just kind of realize Woody Harrelson is like a straight up gambling addict. Like he lost all of his winnings just because he got in an argument with Wesley Snipes about how he can actually dunk. He's just not doing it. He's like, I'll bet you my winnings. And he goes and like tries to dunk. He can't even reach the stupid hoop and all that, and loses all. Has to go to his girlfriend and be like, yeah, so I lost all the money that we needed. I kind of wish like if you took the old one and then blended it a little bit with the new one, it would have been cool. Because I really enjoyed in this new one where you start off in the streets hustling, and then you get to this next level, and it's still kind of like street ball, but like in a tournament style. But then as they get through the next layers for more money, they're getting jerseyed up and stuff like that. I kind of liked that whole progression of watching them grow.
Plus, in this one, there was no real like backstabbing, like and hustling the hustler, like the first one. There was another major thing that they didn't do in this movie. They never even touched on the white man can't jump part where he's trying to teach the white guy how to dunk. Yeah, they never even touched on that.
Maybe the reason why they did it is because he tore both of his ACLs on both knees. So he had double knee surgery. So that's why he can't jump, is because, you know, his knees, they show him get his knee all twisted. They took some liberties and twisted things a little bit to make it different instead of just copying it straight across the board. But in this movie, like, what was your favorite scene? Well, like your funniest scene, or
like with you, the back and forth kind of banter and you know trash talking was pretty funny. But I liked seeing Andrew Schultz as the little drug dealer. He's this really funny comedian that I follow. I just kind of liked his character. I mean, it was so subtle and it was on the screen for like 3 minutes, but he always makes me laugh. So that was kind of my favorite.
My favorite part was when Kamal invites Jeremy over for the birthday party. I know we talked about the Hennessy thing, but this happens just before that. And he's like, yeah, do you want to come to my kid's birthday party? And you're like, oh, cool little friendship thing and whatnot. He says, yeah, that's fire. I fuck with kids. And Kamal looks at him like, yeah, don't say it like that, man.
Yeah, that's one of those things that you say, and then like 15 years later, you're like in the bathroom brushing your teeth, and you're still like, I can't believe I said that.
Right, yeah, that came out completely not how I meant it.
Oh, actually, I will add one more thing that was my favorite thing about this movie, that there was no Rosie Perez voice in this, because her voice just drives me nuts.
I have a favorite scene though from the original when I was watching it, and we're gonna go right back to where we're talking about him dunking or trying to dunk. Wesley Snipes is like giving him a bunch of shit about it, and he runs up to him. He's like, "Hold on, let me help you out." Goes down to his shoes and starts trying to pump up his shoes for him. I was like, "Oh man, I used to have those pump shoes." It's like, "Let me help you out."
Was it the Reebok pumps? Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna give you a fun fact. Did you know Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey are most likely brothers? And one of their mothers hopped over to the other dad and had a little boink, boink, boink.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And they haven't gotten a paternity test yet, DNA test, to see if they actually are, but it was around the same time frame that one of the moms was boinking the other dad.
Yeah, I can't remember if it was Matthew McConaughey or Woody Harrelson that I saw an interview with, and they're like, we haven't actually checked, but
it was Woody Harrelson.
He's like, it's pretty likely.
Yeah, yeah. So we should rate this. So I'm thinking, how many free throws are you sinking for each movie?
Ooh,
yeah,
man, call back to their little shootout competition there.
Yeah. Let's start with this one.
I'm gonna go with 3. Ha, ha, ha. Probably because I can't make any more than 3. If I got 3, I'd be lucky anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 in a row, I'd feel pretty good. I think if you've never seen the first one, you're going to enjoy this one still. It's a fun movie. I think they did a pretty solid job at modernizing it.
What about the original?
I'm going to go with a solid 5. Ha.
Woohoo!
I just love the raw grittiness of it.
Yeah.
And I just enjoyed that aggressive rawness.
All right, so let me rate this. I'm going to say for this new one, I'm giving it 3, but then I'm giving it one more that almost goes in, but
man. Yeah,
I get a little rim job.
Yeah.
And it rolls out. The original, I'm with you. Boom, 5 in a row.
Yeah.
You can tell by my form, I don't shoot. Like I said when we watched the trailer, I can't even do a layup.
All right, that's what we thought about White Men Can't Jump. See you on the next one.